Happy Wednesday, UnWoke Nation. I'd like to welcome you to episode 188 of the UnWoke Show, where free speech is welcome, all subjects are on the table, and your boys Rich and Tim bring you the latest and greatest for your entertainment, baby. I'm your host, Rich, along with my co-host here. How you doing, Timmy?
Oh, great, Rich, man. UnWoke Nation, guys, glad to be speaking with you this evening. Guys, you can reach us directly at feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Again, that is feedback@unwoketheshow.com, as well as all the major podcasting platforms. Tonight, we're just going to jump right in, as we have been as of late. And so, guys, this is Season 4, Episode 188, Flock Cameras Explained, Crime Fighter, or America's New Surveillance Network.
Okay, this is a good one.
Yep, so kicking things off, when I was researching this story earlier, it made me think of advances that we've had, technological advances, that is, throughout society. So every generation believes they're living through the biggest technological revolution in history.
Right.
Our grandparents watched television enter every home. Our parents watched computers change the workplace. Our generation watched the internet reshape nearly every aspect of life. But now we're entering something different. A world where technology isn't just connecting us, it's quietly watching us.
Right.
Every day, millions of Americans drive to work, drop their kids off at school, go grocery shopping, visit friends, or simply head home after a long day. Most of us never think twice about the cameras mounted high above intersections or attached to utility poles. They're just there, hanging out. But those cameras aren't just recording traffic. Many of them are reading every license plate that passes by.
Yeah.
Recording the time, recording the location, recording where you've been. Not because you're suspected of a crime, not because there's a warrant, simply because you drove past. Many supporters say these cameras are making communities safer and helping police solve crimes that otherwise might never be solved. Critics warn we're quietly building one of the largest surveillance networks in American history. So tonight we're asking a question every American should care about. Are flock cameras protecting our communities, or are they changing the relationship between citizens and government in ways we have not fully considered yet?
Yeah, Tim, obviously, you're right. Cameras of everywhere, but I like how you mentioned it in the beginning. It's kind of like, that it's a brand new network. Because now it's like, before it was just about having literally eyewitnesses.
Right.
And now it's just like, something happens in a McDonald's and there's somebody there with 6 other people pulling out their camera phones, and it's on the internet, and people, it's like that.
Or you're checking nearby cameras, what's
right,
on the polls,
right,
businesses,
exactly.
right? So I think it's important to give a little backstory on what flock safety is. So Flock Safety is a private technology company. It was founded in 2017. Their primary product is an automated license plate reader, commonly called an ALPR. Unlike traditional security cameras, they continuously record video. These cameras are designed to capture images of passing vehicles and use artificial intelligence to identify license plate numbers, vehicle make, vehicle model, color, distinguishing features such as roof racks, decals, bumper stickers, and damage. The system then creates a searchable database. Law enforcement agencies can search that database when investigating crimes. An example, a bank robbery.
Right.
Witnesses remember only that the suspect drove a white Ford pickup, as an example. Instead of reviewing hundreds of hours of video footage, investigators can search for white Ford pickups that traveled near the bank during a given time period. What once took days can now take minutes. That's the promise of the technology. So I think it's important to see why the police love it. There is no question that flock cameras have helped solve crimes.
Right.
Okay. Police departments across the country credit the technology with helping recover stolen vehicles, kidnapping victims, missing persons, violent crime suspects, hit and run drivers. One recovered stolen vehicle may lead investigators to a burglary ring. A single license plate captured hundreds of miles away can help solve a homicide. Technology like this gives investigators leads that simply didn't happen 10 years ago. For victims of crime, that's a compelling argument. I think we all agree we want dangerous criminals arrested.
Absolutely.
Most Americans also want police to have effective investigative tools. That's why FLOC has expanded so rapidly. Now, here's the rub. And Fourth Amendment issues.
Okay.
The overwhelming majority of vehicles captured by these cameras belong to people who have committed no crime whatsoever. You and I, our friends, family, neighbors, people driving to work, people driving home, people going to get something to eat, your DoorDash driver, your Uber driver, just cruising along, doing their thing. And yet they're being surveilled. Did they approve the surveil? No. Do most of them even know that they've driven past a FLOC camera? Probably not. So,
but I guess, Tim, is like you kind of make it wonder. It's like when you have people when they're saying about how, and I'm sure they've been trying to fix this, and also if someone is outside your home, okay, if they're on your property and they look at your window, of course, it's trespassing. But if someone is actually doing the same thing, but they're standing on the sidewalk, that's considered public property, and therefore it's like, what's the fine line between the two of those?
Well, that's a good point. But I think the bigger point is there are cameras out there that are collecting our information.
Yeah.
That information is still stored. It's still searchable according to agency policies. Supporters argue if you've done nothing wrong, you have nothing to worry about. That is the worst justification I've ever heard.
Yeah, that makes no sense. It really doesn't.
That sounds like something a third grade teacher would tell a kid right before he's going to get in trouble.
Because all it takes is a law to sit there. It's like if you've done nothing wrong, then it's like you have nothing to worry about. Okay, we have people who are in England who have the supposedly freedom of speech, can sit there and write something about the government or something like that and get arrested. They didn't do anything wrong. All right, so where does that particularly end? Oh, it's going to be based on what's considered the law or whatever the laws that are going to be put in so that all of a sudden stops those different things. That makes a little more sense there. So,
but you know how much I love history.
Yes.
And what has history taught us? The purpose of constitutional protections isn't to protect criminals. Okay. They're designed to protect ordinary citizens from unnecessary government intrusion. The Fourth Amendment exists because the founders understood that governments naturally seek more information, more authority, and more control unless limits are established. You have to admit, technology has kind of evolved since 1791. Human nature hasn't. So let's move on for the cameras, right? Now we've got a little background. We know what they do. We know that law enforcement, it assists law enforcement. It's data that we did not approve to be collected, but somehow is being.
So would you talk even more when it comes to like obviously the police cameras and stuff like that, where so we have definitely found some great benefit to society by doing that. Not only just protecting our officers, shout out to those guys who are law enforcement, but also protect against criminals. You would hope So
I think you're talking about oversight.
Yeah.
So.
And of course, you probably ask them, what's the fine line of that?
Yeah. So I think the issue isn't the cameras. Like we said, it's oversight. Who can access the data? How long is it stored? Can agencies share it with one another?
Right.
Can it be used to investigate minor offenses? Could it eventually be combined with facial recognition or other surveillance technologies? Keep in mind, these aren't hypothetical questions. These are policy questions.
Right.
Some critics have decided the benefits outweigh the risk. Others have paused or ended their use of flock cameras over concerns about privacy and accountability. Okay. I think you and I would agree that reasonable people can disagree on where that balance should be. That balance being privacy and accountability. But I think it's still a conversation worth having. That before technology becomes so commonplace that we stop asking questions altogether. So with all that said, I know in the state of Indiana, Monroe County, which is in southern Indiana, for example, flock cameras have become a very hot topic. So much so that they have actually passed a law that they are no longer going to fund flock and that they're going to take those cameras down. So we talked about oversight, right?
Yes.
Do you think there's anything that could go wrong with police officers having access to this data?
You could have bad actors that might have something in mind.
Okay.
Okay.
You think there've been any bad actors out there that have used this data to, I don't know, stalk women online?
That's a definite possibility.
So there was a recent story of an IMPD officer who met a girl online,
Okay.
used his access that he had.
Oh. No bueno.
Yes. To stalk this girl. And this went on for months, even though she requested he stop.
Oh, so he probably thought just because he's a cop and everything that, he could get away with, or his boys get away with, yeah. That's not good.
In fact, I was just looking at something that, where is my article that I had pulled up? Let me get this for you. I do apologize. Let me get it here. Let me get it real fast. In fact, since the implementation of these flock cameras, there have been, in fact, 14 separate instances in which law enforcement use this data for purposes other than their job.
Oh, that's not good at all, man.
Yeah, exactly. So I couldn't immediately follow my article, but I do have it in the show notes for sure. So we'll make sure you guys will have access to that. But I think the bigger question for me, if we circle back to, is the Fourth Amendment.
Okay.
These flock cameras went out without very little, if any, oversight.
And I was going to get to that. It's like, if there's someone where he's going to have, it's like, where does that come from? The oversight, someone to look and say like, we got to make sure where it's that, like this cop, where it's not using it in a bad way.
Well, what kind of questions is the city council asking about these devices?
Right.
What's being collected? There have been numerous cases as of late, and if you hop on Facebook, for example, flock cameras are all over the place. People are, they don't want it. They're, in some instances, meth heads are cutting down the cameras and taking the copper in order to sell it for drug money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you can just imagine the gross abuse of power that has taken place because of this, and yet it's being pitched to the city councils of the various states as a safety and protection tool.
Which you're kind of not surprised by that, but
the people didn't approve of it.
I get it.
Right. So where is that line? Where is that line when it comes to protection versus privacy? And it's clearly on a case-by-case basis, obviously. I am glad to see that states such as Indiana, such as Wisconsin, are actively reviewing and in some cases stopping funding, or stopping the funding of these flock cameras because people are being unknowingly surveilled that didn't ask for this. Right? So, it's just another abuse of power, if you will. And I'm glad to see that people are starting to say, hey, we really need to take a hard look at this. Because in the end, people have the right and to move without being surveilled or tracked. Right? You have
Tell that to the people in China.
Well,
that's real bad.
This isn't China.
I know, but that's a great.
Well, that's communism too.
Sure. Well, and we went over that last week.
Yeah, we covered that as well. So, like I said, I'm happy to see that people are pushing back. I had actually heard about flock cameras through a friend of mine who had been talking about it, and he had his brother had stirred a hornet's nest in the town that he lives in and stuff. So I'm glad to see people, like I said, are taking an active interest in making sure that their privacy is being protected. So, UnWoke Nation, we'd love to get your feedback on this story. You can reach us at feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Again, that is feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Rich, a pleasure as always. And remember, guys, stay unwoke.
See you next time.